Welcome to Trending Update USA, I'm Steffan, and today we dive into a heated tennis controversy that's taking social media by storm. Aryna Sabalenka, one of the most powerful and polarizing figures in women's tennis, has once again found herself in the eye of the storm. This time, it's not about her dominance on court or her ranking at the top of the WTA. It's about her signature loud grunting and on-court intensity that has divided fans, players, and commentators alike. The debate was reignited when former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki made a pointed remark about players who, in her words, scream louder than they hit. That simple comment has sparked a full-blown online debate, and fans have made it clear, Aryna Sabalenka is their main focus. The conversation began after Wozniacki appeared in a post-match interview where she discussed the growing trend of excessive grunting in modern tennis. She didn't name names directly, but the message was obvious. Wozniacki, known for her calm, focused, and composed style during her playing career, spoke about how grunting can affect the rhythm of the game and even distract opponents. The Danish star, who has returned to the tour this season with renewed motivation, said she believes tennis should be about skill and strategy, not about who can shout the loudest. While her comments didn't mention Sabalenka, social media immediately connected the dots. Aryna's trademark roar after every shot has been both admired and criticized for years. To her supporters, that primal scream is the sound of power, the release of energy that fuels her dominance. To critics, however, it's excessive, theatrical, and disruptive. Twitter, or X as it's now known, exploded with reactions. One fan wrote, "Wozniacki said what everyone is thinking? Sabalenka's screams are over the top." Another defended the Belarusian star, saying, "If grunting is what gives her rhythm and focus, let her be. You can't silence passion." And just like that, the tennis world was split again, half defending the right of players to express emotion, and half calling for the WTA to impose clearer guidelines on noise levels during play. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time this topic has caused controversy. Tennis has long wrestled with the grunting issue. From Monica Seles and Maria Sharapova in earlier decades to current stars like Sabalenka and IJ Swiatek, the sound of tennis has become part of its identity. Some even say that without the grunts, the game would lose its intensity. But others, like Wozniacki, see it differently. The Danish veteran pointed out that in some matches, the noise can reach decibel levels that rival a concert arena. She even joked that sometimes she feels she's playing against a rock singer, not a tennis player. That humor didn't soften the blow. The internet immediately picked up on her tone, interpreting it as subtle criticism toward the top power hitters of today. As the debate spread, Sabalenka's name began trending worldwide. The reason is simple: she's currently one of the loudest players on tour, both literally and figuratively. Her on-court presence, intense celebrations, and fierce grunts have become her signature. But they've also made her an easy target whenever this discussion resurfaces. Fans flooded comment sections, comparing Wozniacki's calm demeanor to Sabalenka's fiery energy. "Caroline played with elegance. Aryna plays with aggression," one post read. "It's just two different styles, and both are valid." Others were less diplomatic. "Sabalenka's screams are unnecessary," one critic wrote. "You can be powerful without being so loud." Meanwhile, Sabalenka herself hasn't directly responded to Wozniacki's comment. However, her past statements on similar criticisms suggest she's unfazed. In a previous interview, Sabalenka said she doesn't plan to change who she is or how she plays for anyone's comfort. "This is me. I play with emotion. I need that energy," she said. And that's the truth of Aryna Sabalenka, unapologetically raw, fierce, and emotional on court. What's fascinating about this latest episode is how it reveals the deep divide in tennis culture between the old guard and the new wave. Players like Wozniacki, who built their careers on discipline, defense, and composure, represent a quieter, more tactical era. Sabalenka and her peers, on the other hand, embody the explosive modern era of tennis, power first, emotion-driven, and fueled by adrenaline. The clash of philosophies is what keeps this sport so engaging. As the debate raged on, even retired pros and analysts jumped into the conversation. former player Pam Shriver commented that while grunting is natural for many athletes, it should never become excessive to the point of distraction. She recalled that the WTA once considered implementing a decibel limit for players, but the idea was eventually shelved because enforcing it consistently proved nearly impossible. After all, how do you measure emotion? Still, that hasn't stopped the critics from calling for action. Some fans want officials to revisit the rules, especially during long rallies where the volume can rise dramatically. Others say the issue is overblown. After all, grunting is part of the athletic experience. In sports like weightlifting or martial arts, vocal release is seen as normal. Why should tennis be different? The WTA has remained silent on this particular flare-up, likely not wanting to fuel the fire. But behind the scenes, sources suggest that officials are monitoring fan sentiment closely. They understand that player personalities are part of what drives viewership, and Sabalenka's emotional style brings energy to every match she plays. Interestingly, this isn't the first time Wozniacki has commented on noise. Even during her prime, she expressed annoyance at loud opponents. Back then, her remarks were directed at Maria Sharapova, whose shrieks were notorious. History seems to be repeating itself. Different decade, same argument, different names. The broader question fans are asking now is, should players be penalized for expressing themselves? Tennis has evolved to celebrate individuality more than ever. Personalities like Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, Ons Jabeur, and Iga Swiatek all bring unique flavors to the court. For many, the sport thrives when players are free to express emotion, through fist pumps, screams, or even post-match celebrations. But for purists, there's a line that shouldn't be crossed. As the conversation spread beyond tennis Twitter, it even reached mainstream outlets. ESPN analysts discussed it on air, debating whether grunting is a legitimate competitive advantage or an unfair distraction. One analyst argued that the sound can disguise the pace of the ball, giving the hitter an advantage. Another countered that it's just part of how some players generate power. The science on this is mixed. Some sports psychologists have said grunting can indeed improve focus and timing by helping athletes synchronize their breathing and movements. Sabalenka, whose powerful baseline game relies heavily on rhythm, fits that description perfectly. Her grunts are almost rhythmic, building intensity with each rally. It's part of what makes her game so imposing. Her serve explodes like thunder, followed by a roar that echoes through the stadium. To some, that's intimidating. To others, it's inspiring. Fans who support Sabalenka argue that her energy is part of why she's so successful. She's not pretending, that's who she is, one user wrote. If she were quiet, she wouldn't be the same player. Indeed, Sabalenka's passion has fueled her to Grand Slam glory and a consistent spot near the top of the rankings. That same passion, however, often makes her a lightning rod for criticism. Meanwhile, Caroline Wozniacki's supporters believe she's simply speaking up for fairness and respect on court. The Dane, who's known for her sportsmanship, believes tennis should allow for emotion but maintain professionalism. Her fans point out that she never said grunting should be banned, only that it shouldn't dominate the match. There's a balance, she said, and sometimes we lose that balance. The most interesting part of this debate is how generational it feels. Older fans tend to side with Wozniacki, yearning for the quieter, classic matches of the past. Younger fans, who grew up with emotional athletes like Serena Williams and Novak Djokovic, embrace Sabalenka's rawness. It's a cultural shift within the sport, from restraint to release, from composure to authenticity. Even beyond this controversy, Sabalenka continues to draw massive attention wherever she plays. Her fiery persona has made her one of the most marketable stars in tennis. She's been featured in major campaigns, celebrated for her charisma, and loved by fans who crave emotion. This latest wave of criticism, then, may not hurt her reputation, it might even strengthen it. Controversy, after all, fuels engagement, and Sabalenka knows how to channel that energy. In the aftermath of Wozniacki's comments, Sabalenka's fans began posting compilation videos showing the most iconic grunts in tennis history, reminding everyone that the sport has always been noisy. From Seles to Sharapova to Serena, Those sounds are part of the soundtrack of tennis greatness. As one fan cheekily put it, if silence is golden, then grunting is platinum. The question now is whether this debate will lead to actual change. Will the WTA implement new guidelines? Or will the players continue to define their own emotional boundaries? So far, no official statements have come from Sabalenka or her team, but insiders close to her suggest she's aware of the chatter and isn't losing sleep over it. She's focused on her next match, one source said. She thrives on noise, both on the court and off it. As the season heads toward its final stretch, all eyes will be on Sabalenka to see how she responds, not with words, but with performance. Historically, she's used criticism as fuel. Whenever she's doubted, she tends to rise even higher. Perhaps this time will be no different. What this entire episode reveals is something deeper about the sport itself. Tennis, for all its elegance and decorum, is an emotional battlefield. Behind every forehand and backhand is adrenaline, passion, and yes, sometimes a scream. Whether you love or hate it, that raw emotion is part of what keeps fans watching. Caroline Wozniacki's comments have opened the door to a larger conversation about sportsmanship, psychology, and the evolution of tennis culture. Should emotion be restrained or celebrated? Should players adapt to old standards, or should the sport adapt to them? It's a debate that won't end anytime soon. As for Aryna Sabalenka, she remains unapologetically herself, a symbol of power, passion, and authenticity in women's tennis. Whether fans cheer or criticize, she continues to command attention every time she steps on court. Her roar, like it or not, has become part of tennis history. So as the discussion rages on, one thing is certain: the sound of tennis will never be the same without that unmistakable Sabalenka scream echoing across the courts. This is Steffan, and you're watching Trending Update USA, where the passion of the game meets the pulse of the fans. Stay tuned for more exclusive updates from the world of tennis.